lower priority for Afreecs than other teams. They've been that weird team where they've left open Galio and Zac multiple times. And Xayah's going to be banned on Blue's side, which lets us know that they don't want Teddy playing it, and they're fancying a Caitlyn first pick.
Still some flexibility here for the side of Jin Air to go ahead and ban that one away. Only issue is that it could very well leave Marin with his choice of top lane picks. The Renekton and the Rumble both available at the moment.
I think you might mess around with giving him Rumble on patch 7.12 with the changes. It was like in competitive play, especially Rumble has been taken down a peg. So we'll wait and see what Jin Air want to do. They ban out the two super powerful junglers first, so they're giving themselves the option to ban a Caitlyn or a Marin. A Rumble, potentially a Renekton even.
If they could just ban Marin, they would love to do that. That would be amazing.
There are other teams. SK Telecom loves to ban Marin by banning 3 top laners, so...
They banned him to China.
And they leave open the Rumble and the Renekton for the Afreecs. And will they first pick it? As if nothing's ever changed, Achilles.
Maybe he didn't read the patch notes. Marin's love for Rumble transcends all patches.
I thought that about his love for Lissandra, but he doesn't play Lissandra anymore.
Kuzan's the closest one to being in that boat.
It's true.
But they're actually going to go, they're going to forego both of those top lane picks, see what Jin Air wants to get their hands on. Instead, take the Lee Sin yet again for Spirit. Big takeaway from Umti. So this does make sense for them.
I wonder if this will mean that the Ashe vs Varus meta will return to us, or we will see something different. Jin also a possibility with those utility carries, or will it be a Kog'Maw or a Twitch or something else coming out? Kallista's been a pretty big pick for Kramer. Teddy has played it in the past as well, so you wonder if people will default onto utility as the Varus has hovered, or whether people will start to pick up the hyper carries that other carries have been playing so far this week. Rek'Sai part makes sense, great answer. Great and clean answer to the Lee Sin. Just will be the pick initiation side for Jin Air to open up things.
All right, so far not changing too much from their comp there in game 1. The Karma obviously not going to be able to be another component, but before we did see that Cannon and the Owlstar come through for them.
The Cannon actually cost Jin Air quite a bit. While it was played well, it got some early turrets. They clearly didn't know how to close out a game with on-hit Cannon, so moving away from that's probably smart, as we got the ultimate confirmation that it's full utility carry for Kramer and Teddy. A lot of mid laners available. Only Karma of the mid lane pool has been taken away. Something like Orianna and Talia. Possible early round drafts.
Well, it seems like Afreecs just going to go ahead, drop that Brahmin yet again. So Ashe instead of Xayah can hit that hyper carry spot like we saw from Prey in game 2, just frontlining on that Ashe. Didn't close it out, but got damn close to it.
2 schools of thought on support pick here. Could have been the Tahm Kench or the Thresh, and they decide to go Snowflower's Comfort with the Thresh being locked in. Afreecs right now doesn't have the most hook targets, so we'll see how valuable the initiation of the Death Sentence will be as the game goes on, but Dark Passage clearly already plenty of value. So both teams, jungle and completed duo lane in the first round. Jin Air will be the team expected to pick up the blind pick laner. Ostensibly going to be a Renekton or an Orianna, you'd imagine, depending on which role they want to select for. And if they keep banning mid laners, value of someone like Orianna does jump up even further.
Doesn't make it through, though. One more ban that could come down. They take Talia off the board, so maybe Jin Air just, fishing for that Orianna for themselves. Kuzan there in the mid lane.
Who's on this season?
And there will be the Orianna ban.
It's 3-2 on Ori, so I guess not favoring it as a blind pick. Galio the big pick for him, but predictably banned away. So where he goes with his draft is kind of up in the air. Could just be the Corki that he played a lot of in previous seasons, but I've talked about Corki a lot, and while we saw Corki ban in game 1 in the second round, Syndra taken away as well. Well, we're getting really safe for someone like a Corki, but it could just be the Cassiopeia that Kuro just won MVP on.
And it will be. They go ahead, lock this one up. I like to see what Kuro wants to take into the Cassiopeia.
He was the one that had Corki banned against him. Kuro's been playing a lot of Kassadin recently, but very painful lane against the Cassiopeia, and maybe he'll go El Clasico with the Victor mid lane. How do you like standard comps, Kilios? Because we've got a lot of standard going on the side of Afreeca.
I'm so excited.
How about a Gragas to round it out?
That would be beautiful. Just, just bring it all together. Just the most exciting thing that we could ever see Marin play. He's like, Rumble's open.
Renekton's open.
Either of them. The ones that start with R's. Just let him play it. Oh, thank God. All right, so Rumble will come through here for Marin. We'll see how this one's going to stack up on 7-12.
See, the strongest possible at that, but it does open up laning picks, like, for example, the Kled, been a big favorite of Ixu. See him nodding his head, so they lock it in, and Ixu will be running on the Kled that he had started off with a very long losing streak on. Picked up 2 victories this season, so Kled shaping up better. Does also give them a split push threat as the game goes on. We saw Smeb on the Rumble yesterday have good early game, and then predictably out split pushed in the end by a Fiora, and Kled can have similar results against Marin if Ixu can get his item timings in the later part of the game.
Well, definitely some questions around that one. The Kennen not working out too well for him. The Kled going to be a lot more comfortable, though. But running this into Marin's Rumble, even with the changes on 7-12, it's always going to be a very tough ask from pretty much anybody.
It's still very iconic to see Marin on the Rumble. We'll talk more about the changes when we get into game in the laning phase. Spirit jumping on the Lee Sin again. Still some power in the Jhin Air draft. They steal away the Cassiopeia this time. They did so much work for Kuro, but Kuro jumps on the Victor, as he's done many times. The bot lane devoid of any excitement. Sorry, guys. The most standard as standard can be in the bot lane, but hope springs eternal that we will see a cracking game. Game 1, very slow one, drawn out by Freecs. Let's see if Jhin Air can adjust and really explode in the early game.
Let's see if they can get something going. They got that Thresh in the bottom lane. I'm ready for Snowflower to go ahead, hook some people, and try to send them to their deaths. Let's go ahead, load up for game 2, see if Afreeca close this out, or if Jhin Air does in fact take us to game 3. Here we go. Audience still hanging in there. 10 p.m. now. Still voicing their support for these teams.
And Marin still voicing his support for Rumble. Love affair as long as time, Marin and Rumble. Rumble got more than a love tap in the latest round of nerfs.
Yeah, he kind of got shut down a little bit.
Gutted is not the right word, but when it comes to his competitive play style, it's a very heavy-handed nerf. I know a lot of people have thought about it. People say, wait.
Oh, yeah.
There's some buffs to it. He does more harpoon damage, so if he gets pushed in, he can wave clear better. He can last hit, as you're just getting eyes on Spirit and his dance moves.
I actually haven't seen somebody do this yet with the skin, so that's excellent.
Spirit's a troll, so, you know. He also has a bit more shielding, so he can block damage earlier at level 1. But he can't push as well, Achilleos, and that's what you kind of picked Rumble for, is pushing and level 1, building up heat, which you can no longer do, longer cooldown, and also the heat drops off faster. And in the end, the lanes that were difficult against him, you think of Fiora, for example, Kled as well. A lot of the difficulty is, well, Kuzan finds Kuro at level 1, but a lot of the difficulty was the fact that from level 1 they were pushed in, finding it hard to last hit a turret, and they had no control of the wave. And the moment that a Rumble can't push as well, which from a level 3 onwards is the reality of current Rumble, then the more difficult matchups, the ones that used to want to go to Doran's Shield and outscale, they outscale easier and at lower cost because less frequently are they under turret and being pressured. And thus, Rumble either hits his equalizer and decides team fights with that, or you don't get the dual benefit of owning lane and also being a team fight god. So it's a pretty significant cost now when you draft Rumble, because picks like Kled, Fiora, Camille only get more attractive.
All the Rumble mains that thought they actually got a buff are crying now because of you.
In solo queue, it's kind of a buff because you couldn't afford to push in, so you can just kill people with a slightly higher AP ratio and slow them. But in competitive play, when it was a pressure pick rather than necessarily just getting solo kills on the Rumble, it's a pretty big move.
All of the Rumble mains that now thought that it was a nerf are now smiling.
You gotta give and take, you know? Umti hasn't spotted, now spots out the
We'll
Spirit
see Spirit walking a bit too much. Hightailing it up towards the top side here. MT not going to get that unburrow damage in. Still trading very nicely onto Spirit. As the Blast Cone. Take that one for a ride. No way for Marin to collapse in fast enough to help get a kill. Kuzan walked over as well. Seems like he's just going to be taking a very swift back over to the basin. He's going to be coming back in with the Dark Seal.
Interesting decision. Usually you want to at least strap yourselves in for a tier, which is, only 720 gold, but clearly might have just used too much mana on the initial harass onto Kuro and felt the need to come back. Doesn't mean he has a very big sustain advantage. So what you can do here is the fact that Kuro has used both of his potions and you have a big sustain advantage means you can take trades and also empower Umti to play up because damage is going to stick on Kuro that will not onto the side of Kuzan.
Spots out MT, so not sneaky enough there on that Rek'Sai. He's going to throw a nice little ward over the wall to keep himself safe. MT will have to go back into the jungle. So far not seeing the same aggression that we saw from MT there in game number 1. Denying out several camps away from Spirit. Instead, much more passive. There's Spirit looking to play up into the bottom side of the map, but there's a ward there in the forward rush for the side of Jin Air, so would be spotting him out. Instead, he's going to wrap around through the try. Trying to get an opening from here. Pushing forward, Tucson walking up. They get to slow in on the Teddy. Dark Passage is there. He will remain safe.
Optimism shown as Ixu's actually tanking minions.
A lot of them.
Pretty big problem in that particular scenario. But will not be taken down. Umti is jungling around the top side.
Lauren trying to get some damage in. Very rarely does he actually have his flank warded.
Has another ward available to reward it, so at least does have the potential for permanent vision for a couple of minutes. Mine will survive this time around.
There's many more chances for MT to go ahead and get that kill in.
Such as every Marin game, but especially one when he's playing Rumble. Kuzan will be getting that tier a lot later because of his first shopping trip being earlier in the lane. They haven't been able to play off the pressure of having a big sustain lead over the Victor. And Kuro obviously trying to play as long a laning phase as possible to get his first item. Game 1, if you remember, was all about Umti, basically stealing every camp away from Spirit. Got the second spawn of the Raptors into about the 5th in a row. And yet still, Afreecs were able to sustain through a very worrying phase for them.
Marin coming back in. Straight in for the Ninja Tabi. So, even less pressure. Going to be on that Kled. Yeah, trade is as well, but there's not going to be any damage coming back to him.
As with the double Doran's pickup on the side of Ixu, who's gone very much laning focus, so just a bit of respect being shown. You see double Dorans and you go into, say, Amp Tome and Ruby Crystal, then you can't really be surprised if you end up losing the lane. Nova looking for the hook.
Not going to find it. Decent trade in onto Tucson, though. Just before that. And a nice CS lead opened up here for Teddy. Kramer could get a bit of these back. Bring out the minions underneath the turret, but he is losing out on a couple of these last hits.
Especially early, big wave clear advantage for Teddy. Able to push in, control the lane, and pick up about one minion's wave's worth of advantage as top lane.
Lauren getting it chased on there by Ixu, who's now knocked off the Scarl. Spirit hovering in here. The Equalizer's going to go wide, just pushed way too far up the river. Ixu and Umti both go over the wall as Kuzan starts cheating his way over here. It seems like they might be able to exit safely. Kuro cannot collapse in.
But the call from Kuro that he didn't want to come up. He's backing on 44 CS. Will he have enough? He does have just enough for his Hex Core upgrade. So smart of the Afreecs not to overfight. He got the lead there, but the equalizer zoned away one exit. Clearly, Jin Air were not playing towards it because they had the roam advantage of Kuzan, so it looked comical. Didn't find any impact. Spirit's still top lane. As the Dragon Rage kick available.
Yeah, I was waiting to see if Ixu was going to push straight back into the lane. Was still dismounted. But now going to be in an all-right spot, so he'll just go back into the jungle. Go hunting. Now going to spot him out. He's rather low. Sonic Wave comes in. Resonating Strike, and just one more auto attack. Well knocked up, Spirit comes up with first blood.
You get even more than that. You can just turn onto the red buff and steal it away. Cassiopeia will not exit lane to stop him. Bot lane.
Yeah, that's going to be the Glacial Fissure coming through. Kramer just firing away. Exhaust thrown down onto him, and the death sentence will go right between the goalposts. But unfortunately for Snowflower, not exactly what he wanted, so misses out on that one. But good aggression down to the bottom side, and on Spirit to go ahead and pick up that first blood. Just really poor timing from Umti. Coming over the wall right when he would have spotted him out with the Tremor Sense.
Exactly. Couldn't have got any worse for Umti. Even buffered the ultimate, so there was no ability to open up space there. Very nice from Spirit, looking to extend that run on Lee Sin. He's up to 6-1 now, so certainly being able to do that. Kuro entered lane with his Hex Core upgrade, but no potions.
Chain of Corruption down on the 2-Sin. Get a little bit of damage off the Braum, but overall he's still going to be fine. Has a couple more biscuits there in the inventory.
It's a pretty alpha move to go no potions a second time against the Cassiopeia. But he sidestepped literally every bit of harass and is still full health.
Doing rather good so far. Spirit now arriving. Scout comes through, but they'll finally clear out that control ward. Got a decent amount of mileage there for Jin Air.
We always talk about the trends that come in and the potential for them to just be short-term ones based on scrims, and no one's lane swapping anymore, Achilleos.
Yeah, actually.
Our 8 to 13-minute lane swaps, there were none yesterday, and there's been none so far today. So clearly that was hot in scrims for a while, and then people just stuck with what worked for the longest time previously. The Rift Herald priority in general has been lower. We've had a couple of games where it hasn't gone picked up.
Yeah. Lane swaps, I guess, a bit of a 7-11 exclusive.
Pre-order bonus.
What would you pre-order at 7-11?
I don't know, a bagel? I think you could pre-order video games at a 7-Eleven.
If it doesn't come wrapped and sold by another company or like created by another company, I don't know if I trust any food products that come out of a 7-Eleven, really.
I like
at least in the States.
I like slushies.
Okay, sure. That's fine. I can get behind that. But I mean, like, the taquitos that they sell, the hot dogs, the pizza.
Hey, I'm leaving myself open for that 7-Eleven sponsorship, Achilleos, so you can write your own refusal letter right now on air if you want to.
All right.
I think 7-Eleven's great.
I'm looking for, well, that would be obscure, I guess. It's like a one from back home called Wawa. That was my convenience store that I went to.
Somehow I think their advertising budget will be smaller than 7-Eleven.
You'd be surprised. They're actually a pretty big company. But, yeah, 7-Eleven is nice.
Freecs trying to play through the mid lane this time. A lot more power. Spirit's Q went wide that time, though. No Drake priority from either team. No Rift Herald priority from either team. So, game surprisingly close.
Yeah, keep it a neck and neck. Just a bit of back and forth here. Some CS leads, especially in the mid lane. Kuzan doing rather well.
You kind of see what happens with the new Rumble as CS lead for Kled in the top lane, and we know this matchup will only get better for the Kled as it goes on. So compared to the previous game, it's not going to be a titanic scaling advantage for Jin Air, but still going to have a very good 4-1 option. It's going to require Marin to hit the equalizers in team fights, so there still is kind of a simpler way to victory in the late game for Jin Air if they can just continue farming up like they have been. What a jerk.
And he's like yelling at you while he hits you.
Somehow less annoying than English voice Super Galaxy Rumble.
I can't even think what Rumble's regular voice sounded like.
The weirdest one for me was Tom Kench was one of the first champions released after I moved to Korea, and he has like the longest hover.
Oh, yeah.
He talks for ages.
Yeah, when you lock him in.
He talks for literally 15 seconds, and he's like, champion selection intro.
I don't even know what he says in.
I only got to hear him in English when I went to North America for Worlds, and I was like, this is way different.
I can't even recall. I remember when I first started playing the game, the ones that really irked me the most was Veigar and Shogath.
Ah, yes.
Their voices, I just couldn't stand at first. They grew on me in the end, but
arrow.
Wasn't a big fan. Straight into the Glacial Fissure. Dark Passage just thrown down. Concussive Blows proc just a bit too late. Teddy will make it out with his life and doesn't even have to use a Summoner spell.
Umti forced to flash out of the W there. Very nice placement, predictably, from Kuro. Didn't want to lead with his ultimate. Drake was confirmed by the Afreecs, hoping for a better roll, but sadly, a second Cloud Drake for them.
Yeah, they rolled the dice, didn't turn out too hot. But still, very even across the board. Bot lane stretching a bit of a lead as well. Kramer just unable to pick up that kill. Really setting him behind a little bit here. Expect Teddy gonna have a pretty nice buy. Is he building an Infinity Edge?
Could be rushing Infinity Edge, could just be going for an Essence Reaver. Still a possibility. Even if you pick up Pickaxe for a bit of AD in lane, it's definitely going to help him with two AD items to get first brick, although...
Tucson tries to deny that one, not going to happen, just loses out on his flash. And that's first brick over to Jennair. Well, that's not one you want on the highlight reel.
The low light reel being established by Tucson. Snowflower's still here, hoping to freeze the minion wave, and Varus stayed as well.
Yeah, did stop the recall. He's roaming his way down, but don't think he's going to be finding too much of an entry for a gank. So it seems like the recalls will just be started in the end. Spirit goes ahead and starts up that Rift Herald with Umti on this side of the map. Dragon not spawned. There's not really anything that he can get to try to answer this one, but
Rumble recalled as this was happening, but Kuro will come up, and that will mean the Rift Herald over to the side of Afreecs.
Yeah, drops down the ward, spots it out, but just a bit too late. Kuro will go ahead and snatch up that buff. They can use this to break that mid-outer turret.
That would definitely be the gold standard. Cassiopeia with her slow wave pushing always does a lot worse when her mid lane turret is taken out. So look for both Rumble and the Lee Sin to make vision missions around the mid lane to open up a fairly straightforward steal. Speaking of vision missions though, Jennair on the front foot this time.
Pushing their way in. Kramer starts cheating his way up. Let's have the Ashe ult ready to go.
He did rush Infinity Edge. Interesting. We've seen so many AD carries, unless they're Blade of the Ruin King carries, doing everything but pick up an Infinity Edge. Lots of static shiv into rapid fire cannon, then Infinity Edge.
Yeah, I mean, even that we don't always see it rushed on Caitlyn, which is like the one. Snowflower though pushing forward. Ashe arrow straight into that Glacial Fissure will take him down. Now Umti in the spot of bother dives in, looking for the ultimate onto Kramer, just really to get himself out of there. He's able to tunnel out. Both the TPs will be canceled in the end. And it's just going to be the one pick coming through under the Thresh.
Umti thought he was the one to initiate a bounce party, but actually it was the side of Snowflower who was knocked up to death. Or in the mid lane, dealing with Kuzan, flashes in.
Yeah, flashes in. Petrifying Gaze not going to find him as he makes it over the wall, but the charge coming through, but he's got the Blast Cone to take him out to safety. So, does have to use both of his summoner spells. Kuzan invests the flash. Charge out of it in the end.
Almost the inspired charge there, but the blasting plant put paid to the idea that Ixu will get a pick onto the Victor and just run back mid lane and wave clear again. That's what we wanted, guys, more wave clear. We talked about Marin stepping down, trying to open up that time for the Rift Herald in mid lane.
Coming around this way. Can't quite tell how much longer there is on it.
About a minute, I would say, a minute and a half.
Gonna have to use it sooner rather than later. Right now, Marin's still just clearing out the waves. Back is there from Ixu. They want to set up. You can see the pings there in the mid lane. Seems like they're calling for him in the bottom side of the map, but Kuro's gonna go ahead and recall out.
From this point in the game, the Rumble changes are somewhat of a buff. You still push a little bit slower, but not too markedly slower because of the 75% damage to minions. The stacking slow is stronger, which is a buff, and the shield having shorter duration, but larger shield value can actually be a buff or a nerf situationally, usually a buff, I would say. So obviously a lot less of a headache when you have 5 points in your queue. They're around the top side. He doesn't know, actually, but there is no vision at all from the side of Ixu.
All of it having expired. Go ahead and sweep through the jungle looking for something. Not going to find any wards in Spirit for now. Just taking the Scuttle Crab. Seems like he'll go ahead and peel off from here. Maybe now we'll see that summon coming out. Already several members waiting here. Martin will get jumped on by Ixu. Spirit now wrapping back around. Going up here for the Kled. Spirit Trap on the rope comes down. He'll get popped off a Scarl. Dark Passage takes him to the side a bit. Spirit goes
Equalizer.
Equalizer is thrown down. Ash Arrow connects in on the Guzan. Has to cleanse to get himself out to safety. As empty tunnels over the wall. Makes his way out of this one, but now everybody grouped up in the mid lane. Still go ahead and summon the Rift Herald, but this can be dealt with rather easily, you'd have to expect. Ixu really the only one that has to back off.
A couple of summoners down, so at least something, but you're right. And launch it in mid lane. How much of this mid lane turret can they get? They don't have Maren there.
And they can't
Teleport
really push
coming
up
in.
For this one. Yeah, Ixu coming around the backside, throws out the charge, hops in straight in onto Kuro, pulls him back in as he goes low. Shield helping to keep him alive now. Tusa with a turnaround. Does land that Glacial Fissure, popping them up, but he'll get Petrifying Gazed on. He'll go down. They turn in. Find Spirit as well. One answering kill coming out from Kuro and Kramer as they take down Empty. Rift Herald does go ahead and claim the turret. The 2 for 1, and okay.
Well, I missed out what happened there.
Ixu just died to the Rift Herald.
That's really awkward. Well, that was silly.
Replay, please.
We'll need the replay for that last moment there.
What was that about, a low light reel?
Feels like we might be able to put one down just for this single game, Achilleos. That feels good. We're going to see the replay.
So charge.
And the charge was perfectly timed. This was very smart from the side of Jinair. And if you watch the Petrifying Gaze, he actually gets 3 in Petrifying Gaze, which is certainly more than the minimum.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Gets Kramer as well.
Straight into Chain of Corruption.
So that was a really nice layering of CC. overdives. That was silly. But let's watch Ixu, who's low, walks in, going to help out with the Rift Herald.
Swing, and okay.
Wow. He got cleaved to death by the Rift Herald.
This is a guy who got the pentakill on Akali.
That's not going to be in the Penta, though, Achilleos.
And then he walks up.
The video doesn't include your bad plays later in the week.
It should. They should do the Penta, and then what would be the reverse?
At the B side, basically.
Yeah, like just the worst plays of the week.
Imagine if you won both in the same week.
Somehow you're just all 5 of them.
To be fair, Mickey probably had multiple weeks where he won both.
Oh yeah, I mean, the Valkyrie will always come to mind.
Guys, didn't read the news today. Mickey will not be playing for the Rocks Tigers in second round robin starting tomorrow. We don't even know who will be playing of the 2.
Nope. And we don't know why. So you don't have to ask us that.
Yep. I'm sure there'll be a statement at some point.
Yeah.
Seems like it was a recent thing given that he played just the day before. All right, Ixu. He's feeling better about himself. He's got Scarl again, but for how long?
Charges forward here. Equalizer getting a bit of damage in it. He's about to get dismounted as Spirit does arrive. Tempest will take him off as he tries to run away, but Spirit has a resonating strike, takes him out, and Kuro is on the backside just in case. So he'll go down yet again. Meanwhile, bot lane of Jinair swapped over to the top side, just trying to get some damage onto that tier 1. Won't be able to find anything, however. And Marin, well, he's got all the time in the world right now. Go ahead and start splitting onto that outer turret in the bot side.
May not even be a trade of turrets, given that Tucson and Kramer are in position to take some camps and also make that visit to defend the top lane outer turret.
Yeah, I mean, the Hurricane's done here, so Kramer can clear this out quickly.
One of those surreal games where there's only 2 turrets down at the 21-minute mark, but this will be Marin doing most of the work, if not quite taking down the outer bot lane turret.
Kuzan arrives. We'll stop that from going down. Nearly has the Rod of Ages complete, despite the awkward build path for it. So not too far away, just 2 more minutes on that, and it has the Banshee's Veil.
Kuro has gone Banshee's Veil second. Very, very safe. Victor build is looking to put out consistent damage. Waiting to see which team gets the real priority around the Baron. There's a million wards in there and also tunnels from the side of Jinair, but no real more thought put into it. Item build for Teddy is just a kind of blast from the past Infinity Edge static shiv build.
Yeah.
We do not normally see.
Intriguing.
Obviously, Play the Ruin King's been the big favorite, but when you're facing Rumble Lee Sin, you're not as priced into this Play the Ruin King. Essence Reaver is fallen off a cliff. Even Prey's not building it anymore, so we're not feeling it. So end result is this traditional AD carry build.
Smart away there from Team just to try to claim that big raptor. Kuro giving him hell over this. 5-2, 1.1 thousand gold in the lead as Afreecs at just about 23 minutes. So still pretty much neck and neck between these two squads.
Even though it was mostly free farmed Ixu for the earlier part of the game, he's let his team down a couple of times with the Kled, so actually being able to achieve the 1-4 is looking less of a guarantee than it was maybe 5 minutes ago. Played around Baron for a lot shorter than Jin Air did in game 1, but crucially got it and was able to open up a lead from there. Looking to take the last of the turrets relevant to the Baron, which is that outer top lane turret. And their setups are good. They invest enough members. Turret's already low. There should be another turret, but the teleport.
Yeah, TP coming in from behind as Ixu looks to join in the fight.
They know you're there, by the way.
Maybe the 4-3-4. He's still sitting in there, waiting for Kuzan to collapse in a bit closer. Charge comes through, locks in onto Kramer, who will flash away for the bear trap on a rope as there pulls it back in. Meanwhile, on the front side of the fight, that's going to be Snowflower going down as Kuro finds the first kill. Big equalizer thrown in straight on top of Jin Air. 2 kills picked up. Lunging forward with the Void Rush, not going to be able to come up with anything at all. Double kill goes over to Kramer, and now Jin Air completely smiteless for the next 35 seconds. Freecs will be looking for the Baron.
And we said if you hit the equalizer, you can still make the Rumble work. Marin on Rumble, Kuro on Victor, both of them showing great understanding of their champions in the same engagement. And the two of them, the equalizer and also Marin just taking out Snowflower at the start of the fight. They'll be able to turn onto Baron. They open up a gold lead, and Freecs. That 2-0 may not just be a blip in the memory. There might actually be 2 for them in 3 matches because they've got a really big lead to their name right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
we see the replay. I mean, Ixu, in the end, did get onto Kramer like he would have wanted to, but watch on the top of the screen as Kuro hits the W onto the Thresh, just kills him straight up, and Marin looks like he's caught, but magnificent equalizer. Teddy takes 3 ticks before he has to leave, and Kuro just walks up to him as he's going off the equalizer and murders him in the back line. The duo of the solo lanes decide the fight straight up, and 3-0-3 on the Victor. Going to be piling on items very soon as well.
3-0-3, 4-0-4 there for Kramer as well, so both of them doing wonders for this team. Lauren just finally getting some assists in there. Oh, 0-0-4 there on this Rumble so far. Finally has a bit of damage coming through as well. Massive gold lead now opened up here, just in a matter of an instant. 6.2 thousand gold in favor of the Freecs, and they're going to be looking for more, have this Baron buff. It's time to knock down these inner turrets. Marin has that top lane, getting ready to move up towards the top.
And now you want to play multiple lanes if you're a Freecs, because, you know, Teddy needs to be wherever the wave clear is happening, because he's the only one that really provides any. But also try and engage, which is clearly they're opening up for.
Big gravity field comes out, locks in too as Kuzan already goes low, and he might not even get the chance to kite out of here. Equalizer thrown down yet again, perfect positioning from Marin, and they will just sweep over Jin Air.
Jin Air decides to have a party in the Chaos Storm for some reason. Equalizer also. It was a long party, it turns out.
No,
everyone
Teddy.
Burns alive.
Box comes down, not going to do a damn thing. He goes down as Spirit finds the kill. Snowflower will be chased in, and honestly, I mean, it's very short death timers, but could this just be the end of the game? They have the Baron-empowered minions
Yeah,
here.
they have the Baron buff for over 50% duration. I think the game's just over, Achilleos.
Good Lord. Well, just in a matter of minutes, Freecs turn everything around. Marin starting to tank things up just to get this going. First one to spawn will be in 4 seconds, but you have to expect that he can't do a damn thing about this one. 27 minutes just about on the clock. Freecs, after a turnaround victory in game 1, just completely stomp out Jin Air from one fight.
Yep, I mean, there was 2. The last one kind of accelerated the game. It seemed like you were already
that was when the stomping began.
Definitely. The second fight where Kuro just said, okay, I'm standing to attention, put down the gravity field, put on the Chaos Storm, 4 people took about 5 ticks of it.
They just walked into it all.
They were having a party at Achilles, so like, this is cool, I guess. Then the equalizer was there when they tried to leave the party. You know? And then the game was over. The game turned very, very quickly over this particular game. To me, the MVP probably has to be Kuro, who, you know, played Victor as he often does, and it was a return to Rock's Victor, so that's a good time for Afreecs.
Good job overall there for the Afreecs. Come up with that win. Do find
Let's see the replay.
A rare one from a different angle.
Everyone really wanted to fight in the Chaos Storm. It's doing a lot of work here. It goes on to Umti, multiple members. Everyone's dying to AoE from the Victor. And then Rumble's like, well, you can't leave now. This was really dumb from Janair.
Just zaps them all to death and into the end of the game. And then, well, Teddy.
So here's what I'll say.
He gets screwed.
I feel like maybe actually, if you think about it, Game 1 was 2016 Janair, and then Game 2 was 2017 Spring Janair. Because this Janair didn't look to pull it to the late game, just pulled the trigger, and it was the wrong trigger. It was a self-inflicted ending of the game at 26 minutes, you'd have to say. They could have tried to pull it out.
Yeah.
Would that have changed anything? Maybe not, but the game just ended. You know, it's kind of abrupt.
They pulled the trigger while it was still in the holster, and they shot themselves in the thigh or something like that, maybe in the foot. I'm not sure what it is, but either way, Janair definitely looking off here today. Not looking like a top 5 team at all, but Afreeca in Game 2 certainly did.
That's been the Afreecs, right? They have certainly been up and down. They've waxed and waned.
Polarizing performances.
They're still Afreecs. 5-4 is the quintessential Afreecs score. It had to be 5-4 or 4-5. That's just how the Afreecs look. They just need to actually get ahead of finishing 5th. As with a new roster, they aped what happened last season. They have finished 5th in 3 seasons in a row under the moniker Afreecs, and basically finishing better than that is all they can really be looking for as a first goal.
Well, rough stuff for Janair. Back to the drawing board for that squad and get prepped for that second round robin and try to come out with a bang yet again. Started off so very well, but you can see the denial onto the Lee Sin does wonders against MT. The Rek'Sai in Game 1 looked very comfortable, was dictating the jungle, but the lack of macro shot calling really just made it suffer overall, and he never quite found that same footing in Game 2.
And we have a exciting revelation in the fact that their first match of the second round robin will be against Longzhu on Saturday. So Afreecs gonna have a tough opposition continuing, playing the reverse of that matchup. Most damage of the game went to Kuro. Baron hit the equalizers, that was good to see. In the end, Kled got more farm, but unfortunately Ixu made some critical mistakes, and the Kled did not end up being a relevant late game swift pushing threat, and well, Thresh didn't do any damage.
I'm still, not at all. I'm still very confused as far as the build goes from the side of Teddy and just how effective it could have been. But Kuro will be winning the MVP 4-0-6, 71% kill contribution, and now 800 points, taking sole possession of first place over the likes of BDD and Juve.
Hit 1,000 kills in summer, also getting up there in games played. Will Kuro lead the list at the end of the season? Be a big story for him on his new team, where he's tried to define himself as no longer an auxiliary part of an amazing team. On Afreecs, he needs to stand up. I mean, and he has been standing up more often than not.
Yeah, would be the second mid laner to win the award. And twice in a row, we would have a mid laner take that one away. And
we tried to give it to Rift Herald. They said no for some reason.
Goodbye. That one is gonna just haunt Ixu.
I forgot that happened in this game. You know he's gonna win an MVP, and Dangon's gonna have a question about it.
I wanted to erase it from my memory, but all right. I hope that one's posted on Reddit.
That happened in this game.
What a night it's been.
There was this also where everyone rushed in to die to Victor.
Quick, get in there.
Victor didn't even die in all of this fun. Kramer showed up, the equalizer on the back end. The VOD review of this one's probably going to be painful. You delay this one till tomorrow if you're Janair.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
What a silly game.
I don't know, man. That's just rough stuff. One hell of a VOD review session indeed, and I don't envy the coaches that have to talk about this, that have to explain everything that happened.
The same Janair that had a very close series against Samsung Galaxy a few days ago had this display against Afreecs. That's a bit of a head scratcher, but I think it's translation time, Achilles.
Hot damn, yes it is. Let's go ahead and throw over to Steven for the last time tonight with your translation for the MVP interview.
Thank you very much, Papa and Kilo, for great cast for today's match. And this is Steven for the translation for today. And we're moving into interview with the winner of today's match, Afreecs, playing against Jiner by 2-0 score, and our solo MVP for today, Kuro. And how are you feeling, Kuro? It's your solo MVP for today's match. And Kuro is saying that I'm really happy to finish game with 2-0. We finished game really early compared to the other previous matches. So Cloudhammer saying that after that 1,000 kill video, you keep getting MVP point every match. What's your method of getting MVP point? Well, Kuro is saying that moment, that video was like the moment that make me more work hard to get MVP point, like playing very aggressive, playing more hard than any game. And Dangun is saying that Jiner match, this match was very important for you guys because you guys are in tie in this score right now currently. And how did you guys manage to play game for today? Anchor is saying that we cannot manage to lose this game because if we lose this game, we're gonna be a 4 win and 5 lose, and we don't want to be like spring season. So we work really hard to manage to take the win today and go above the Jin Air. And Dangun saying that for the current new patch that Rise, and there are a lot of meta and the other picks are coming up. And they're asking some picks about the Marins that Marin made. I think they're talking about the Gragas and asking Kuro about the Gragas used to be used in jungle and now it can be used in top. So asking about the Kuro about how that kind of situation happened, and Kuro is saying that the Marin's getting a lot of bans like Renekton and Rumble, so that's why he used Gragas to go forward. Like it can be a tank and also be aggressive player to protect their team and attack in the same time. And Cloud Temper is asking about the 3 Dorian rings, about Marines, and the crew is saying that yeah, he's the guy who made the sensational item setting 3 Dorian rings, and well, he's going to come up with the other idea in the future. And Dangun is saying that in the position for the mid lane, if jungler doing well, then your position is going well as when jungle is doing well. But in the first game, it was pretty not great situation that happened for the Afreecs because the Umti did really great on the Rex side. So how do you feel about that? And Kuro saying that I got a little pressure in the first game because Umti was very great job in the coming into the inside jungle and getting like raptors, other jungle mobs. But although we had that situation, I had to trust on our jungler Spirit, so we managed to solve that out throughout the game.
너프를 받긴 했다고 하는데 충분히 괜찮다고 하더라고요. 그래서 쓰고 있는 거예요. 그래서 이제 밴도 당하고
Now, Cloud Temper asked about the pick of Jaya, and the crew talking about although they got buffed for nerf, I think Jaya's a really great pick. And Dangun said that you guys got banned in the second game. So now they're moving into highlight video for today's match. And Cruz, they're talking about the Jaya play, and Cruz saying that that formation for Jaya was pretty perfect, and it was amazing play by Kramer. Now Dangun is saying that these days there are a lot of split play by many teams, and you guys make a lot of call to get that split champions. For example, right now you guys managed to get Kennen. So what kind of call were going on in the game? And then Crew is saying that the other opponent, everyone's on the base, but Kennen was by himself taking creeps, taking farming from the bottom lane. So we managed to make a call to get Kennen. So those kind of call were going on during the game. So now Dangun is talking about the second game right now. So normally Marine get a ban in Rumble in like most of the game, but in the second game that you guys didn't get banned in both Rumble and Renekton. Also, you guys picked the Lee Sin in the first pick. So what was going on about that? And Kuro said that we really want to take the Rumble in the first pick, but the Marine had a call that it's not the right time for now yet. So we decided to push a little bit for the Spirit. So we picked Lee Sin for the first pick, and we wait for the opponent picks and decide to pick Rumble.
짓을 하는 걸 참을 수가 없는데 빅토르다 보니까 좀 참고 버텨야 돼요.
Now they're talking about the jungles and how mid lane we're going, and Kuro said it was really hard for me to play in the mid lane because there are a lot of pressure from the jungles, from the opponent. But I was Victor, so I decided to hold myself and wait for the second half, the end of the game, to show my real power at the end, and it worked.
제가 조종해서 뺨한대 후렸는데.
Now they're making jokes about the inside games, about how crew managed to survive from that situation. It was disastrous. It was total clown fiesta, and crew managed to survive from the back. And they had a joke about asking how could Iksu died in that situation, and crew makes it out, joke back that, oh, I manipulate that Rift Hattle to slap Iksu's face. So those kind of jokes were going on in the interview right now.
He slapped its face off.
And then the Dangun, is it normally happen in scrims or any play? And then the crew saying that, oh, actually it's the first time for me to actually see Rift Hattle slapping someone in the face. And it was really fun. And now they're going back to the game interview. And it's kind of almost in the end. And Dangun is saying that, how can you talk about your performance for Africa for Freecs these days? And then Crew is saying that our performance is improved compared to the spring season. But we were really close, like, you know, the game that we lost was very close because we killed them like in the first game really badly. And then we lose so badly in the second game. So that little 2% was really bad for us, but I think we can solve that out with the practice, and we will be more having a lot of feedbacks and practice to prepare for the second round. So I think we can do it to manage the playoffs. And there any last message for your fans? Spoken by Dangun and Kuro saying that we're working very hard, practicing a lot, and thanks to all the fans who came today, and thank you very much. And Dangun saying that this is almost the end of the first round for the Africa Freecs, and this is the end of the interview, and back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Steven. So there you have it, Kuro, solo MVP for today, and very well deserved, especially there in game number 2 on that victor. So 2-0 finish for the side of Afreecs. Certainly thought that this one was going to go to 3 games, Papa Smithy, but we get a reprieve. We get to go home a little bit earlier than planned here tonight.
I was ready for some more League of Legends, but Jin was not. They decided this match is over. Let's rush in there, get home before midnight, and damn they will, Achilles.
Yeah, they will. Iksu decided it for them when he got killed by
But it was big stakes because now Freecs are 1 series ahead of Jin in 5th spot, and 5th spot is the difference between playoffs and a very long holiday till January next year for the 6th place team. Good stuff there, Freecs. They're famously the team that has no ceiling, it has no floor. It's a very weird house if you think about it, but it's the Freecs.
Kind of just live in a void, but taking a look at those standings, one of those top 4 teams not going to be going to Worlds. That's always a weird thing to think about. We'll have to see how it shapes up as we get ready to go into that second round robin coming up tomorrow. It's going to be BBQ Olivers versus MVP.
Last game of the first round robin.
Yeah, last game of that first round robin. Both of those teams desperately needing that win to try to avoid the relegation zone, then followed up by KT Rolster versus the Rocks Tigers.
New mid laner.
And kick off that second round robin with the new mid laner, as you say. Then on Saturday here at OGN will be Freecs taking on Longzhu. Very big, very hard battle for them. Longzhu still looking very strong here today. Then Jin up against Samsung.
Yeah, hard to read if Jin can just shrug off a poor performance today and actually come and make a series of it against Samsung, who are looking to extend the time they can finish top of the table. They do enter this second round robin as your first place team. BBQ Olivers versus Everate. That one is going to be one of those bottom spots trying to get up to the 2-match win. Someone has to with the win there, and then SK Telecom T1. That other team is really commanding a lot of respect, as always, trying to get to first spot, taking on free-falling MVP, and that's MVP's last match before Rift Rivals, so, oh boy.
Yeah, could be going to an international competition with
nothing.
Almost no wins.
No momentum.
So, yeah, no momentum, no anything. So all the other regions are watching MVP, and they're just like, yes, please.
Phoenix 1 is way better than MVP.
SK Telecom break them. And then SK Telecom will go to Rift Rivals and break those guys.